Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. So today I want to go through a very common misconception. In my opinion, I think it's a misconception that people have when it comes to software, right? So the misconception is that whenever, in order to enter a market where there's, whether you want to enter the tech market, for example, whatever field in software that you want to enter, whether it's platform or SaaS, there's this idea that you have to be extremely different from the competition, right? You have to be very differentiated and you have to provide a solution that no one else is providing. And I don't think this is true at all, okay? I mean, just if we use a very common example, just look at Uber, right? Uber, they provide, ride sharing services. So they provide basically taxi services for people across the world. But Uber actually has a lot of very similar competition, right? For example, Lyft. Lyft does the same thing as Uber, and it's not really that different. I'm pretty sure there's another one in Australia called, I think it's called Dodo, and it's pretty much the same thing as Uber. It's the same, right? There's not much differentiation. And actually, a good example that I like to think of is, imagine if you went to the desert and there were a bunch of people that were very thirsty and they didn't have any water. And let's say there's a lot of people that are selling bottles of water in that desert. Well, let's say there's only like 1 to 2 people selling bottles of water. So there's huge demand because people are very thirsty and they need water to survive. And there's only a few people selling bottles of water. Now, do you think it really makes a difference if you're selling, if you're, do you think it really matters if you differentiate a bottle of water? Like if you provide, spring water, or if you provide, I don't know, like flavored water, does that really matter? In that situation, it doesn't really matter because people, their priority is to survive. And in order to survive, they need to have water. So I think it's the same thing with not only just, software, but even just all different aspects of business. Differentiation isn't really something that's so important. As long as you're helping people with what they need, like, if people are thirsty and they need water and you can supply them with water, then it doesn't matter that you shouldn't really worry about, I need to have flavored water, I need to have some type of, I don't know, you know gluten-free water, or something like that. It doesn't, like mineral water, spring water, sparkling water, they don't care. As long as you give them what they need, that's all that matters. So I think this is a very common misconception. And when it comes to B2B SaaS, even if you look at all these different examples of SaaS, they're literally all the same. Like they all have the same functionality. Maybe they're designed differently. Maybe they have like a few extra things. I'm not saying they're all completely the same, but they're all, I would say about 90% of them are the same. Like some of them may have, a few extra integrations. Maybe they have a few extra features, thing like that. But besides that, most of them have the same, they meet the core need, which is, for example, accounting software, right? All accounting software is software that can help you do your invoicing. It can help you do things such as, keeping track of your expenses, doing your invoicing, and timesheets and that type of thing, right? Those will be the main sort of functions. Now, anything extra would be things like integrations, um, you know, just extra features, reporting, things like that. But most of them are still pretty much the same. So that's my point, is that as long as you meet the core need, the core demand. For example, CRM software is, if you ask yourself, what's the point of CRM software? CRM software is basically to keep track of your clients, keep track of the status, keep track of where they're at, things like that. Now you can add extra. Obviously, you can add extra features. You can add things like integrations to social media. You can add things like having invoicing as another option. That's just an extra feature. But at the end of the day, the main demand, the core demand, is to manage their clients. That's a core demand. So even if you provide just something to help people manage their clients, that's already meeting the core demand. Anything extra is just a bonus. And yeah, that's my point. When it comes to SaaS, you don't, it's good to have differentiation, but it's not, I don't think you should really focus too heavily on it unless it's something that is a differentiation that would really set you apart and would actually be very valuable. So let's say, you know, maybe it's a signature software, right? So there's a lot of signature software, and let's say out of all the signature software, none of them have an integration, or actually none of them have a feature where um, they can also track the activity of the signature. Like they can track. Actually, here's a good example. Here's a good example I thought of. None of the signature software has an option to do invoicing at the same time, because usually a lot of businesses, they send invoices and a contract at the same time in order to book a service, right? It's not just a service agreement. They usually, a lot of businesses, they require payments in advance. So what you could do is, let's say that none of the signature softwares offer invoicing at the same time as as sending the signature contract or whatever, sending the contract to get the signature. Now so in order to, now if you provide something, I'm going all over the place, but if you provide something that lets people fill out their signature and take payments at the same time, then that's something that is worth differentiating in. But if you just provide a signature software and you say, this signature software has an integration with social media, like who cares? Like that, sure, that's an extra feature, but is that really something that people actually want in the signature software? I mean, they already have, other. It's probably like integration with social media is probably more suitable for things like CRM, but not really for signature software. So yeah, I think it's important to understand that aspect when it comes to differentiating.